The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a Reps Are Terrorists t-shirt for free. Claim your shirt at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/reps. We're also brought to you by NYRA Bets. Get your $25 free bet for the Belmont by going to nyrabets.com/SGPN25. Promo code SGPN25. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, Rudy Roth, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. All right, we've got the NBA Finals. We are nearing the end of yet another season in the NBA. 2 teams left. We started with 30, and now we're down to OKC and Indiana. Flyover cities, as some people would like to say. Although I feel like OKC is a bigger city than that. Maybe not like Charlotte or anything, but like I feel like OKC is a pretty big city. Indiana, everything in Indiana is a flyover. That's a flyover state. I 100% agree. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Hey, Scott, look, we're on time today and nobody's here.
Yeah, we usually give an extra 5 minutes, so they were just kind of surprised, I guess, that we were on time. But I'm trying to think if I've ever actually been to either state. I've definitely
I've never been either.
I've definitely flown over Oklahoma before. I've been in Indiana before. Not for a long time, but I was in Indiana for like a night.
I definitely haven't flown over Oklahoma. Because if I did, no, there's nowhere that I could have gone where I've flown over Oklahoma. If I went to Vegas, I'm pretty sure we didn't fly over Oklahoma. And then I went to Houston, and you don't even have to get to Oklahoma there. So I've never flown over Oklahoma. Indiana, I don't know, possibly.
Indiana,
I've been to Chicago, so probably.
Yeah, I was there in Indiana for like one night. It was a fraternity thing, but besides that, I've never been to either place.
Yeah.
So.
Indiana? We went all the way to Indiana?
From Wisconsin, yeah. We were opening up a new chapter in the fraternity.
Okay.
So we went to like welcome the new chapter.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got an NBA Finals to talk about. It's funny because I can understand maybe from Indiana side of ball if you say this is not even in Indiana, because Indiana plays fast paced and that's what people want to see when they watch the games. So like, I don't know why people think this is boring. Is it because the cities are boring? I mean, the cities are pretty boring.
This opens up a rant, but it's mostly about how people. It's not going to be that big of a rant. I'll keep this one pretty tamed, but I'm pretty convinced that most NBA fans on social media don't actually like the sport of basketball, and all they care about is trying to either roast people's legacies or trying to just trash talk players, and they don't actually care about watching the sport. They only care about the narratives associated with it because they want the big markets. They want the Knicks involved. No offense. They want the Boston Celtics involved. They want like all these, the Lakers. They want all of these, top tier markets to be involved in the game itself. And if they're not, they don't care. And I feel like it kind of sums up how a lot of social media, it feels like most of the people that run the massive accounts on basketball, by the way, are like teenagers. I don't know if you noticed that, but it feels that way.
Yeah, 100%.
Because none of them actually know basketball. And it feels like all their tweets start based on what they first remember, which is like 2012. And they just go from there. And it's like, you just don't know anything about actual basketball, but okay, that's fine. The point is, a lot of it comes down to just the market size. It's the Pacers and the Thunder, and a lot of people go, oh, who cares? I do. Should be a fun series. I'm excited for it. Like, I feel like if you're looking at it from a basketball perspective, it's a very entertaining series. The problem is a lot of people don't actually care about watching the NBA, They just like to focus on either rage bait, clout chasing, or anything else that talk about superstar players. And the fact is, most people who tweet about Shea on social media are hating on him for being a foul baiter, even though I think there are much worse foul baiters in the league, and he's still a top 3 player in the league anyway. So I think that's why people are down on it. It's because of the market size, and a lot of people aren't true basketball fans.
I know that Trae Young got a rule changed.
Yeah, he's number one in the foul baiting community.
And he wasn't I mean, yeah, Trae Young got hate from like Knicks fans and stuff like that, but like it wasn't nearly the level of SGA here. And I mean, he's way better.
Yeah.
And so SGA is just a really good basketball player. I can't wait to see him win his first ring here. Sorry to bury the lead for the rest of the show. All right.
Do you agree with me though? It's just about social media not really actually liking the sport of basketball or the NBA. They just only care about the
Narratives.
the narratives and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
So,
100%. That happens in the W as well. Even more in the W. They really don't care about basketball there.
Yeah.
They I was on my bookie last night. I think it was my bookie. And they have a promo that is called Angel Reese, She's a Brick House, where they bet the miss on her first field goal attempt.
Yeah. I've seen the clips.
Like
it's some weird app that I've never actually used before that like gives you that offer, but they've been running it back like 8 days in a row.
And it's like it's the most juice prop. It's like one of like you're a hater. You're a legit hater to have a first field goal miss prop and continuously bet it. Oh man. It's the narratives. But it's a narrative and it gets people talking about it. And that's what they're trying to do in the NBA. They're trying to get people talking about it by creating this narrative of these finals are going to be lame and then the finals are going to start and they're going to be good. It's just not going to be close.
Yeah, I see Philly mentioning, by the way, that in order to like actually know basketball, you have to either play or watch so much of it. I think at the end of the day, though, it's about the effort because people on social media don't even care about actually trying to follow the NBA stuff. They will just look at a box score and go, "Oh, Shea had like 12 points," and they'll ignore the fact that he might have had like a triple double. They'll just go, "Oh, he's nothing without free throws." It's like, well, not really, because he had himself like a solid
Wasn't he
overall
like
game or whatever.
top 2 in steals this year?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there are other aspects of the game that people don't really talk about, or they'll pull out one clip for basically just farming purposes of just Shea potentially drawing a foul, and they'll ignore the other 35 points that he had in the entire game.
Shout out to the Aura farmers.
So that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. There's a lot of cloud chasing involved in social media, a lot of Twitter blue people trying to make money, and they know that negativity is a great way to make money quickly. So they will only focus on negative stuff in order to promote I'd say a harsh agenda towards certain players, and they don't really care about the actual results of the game. That's how I look at it, at least. But
Scott preaching here on it. What is this? What's today? Tuesday? On Tuesday. Stanley Cup final is here in the Hockey Gambling Podcast. They're giving away a NHL jersey and $200 in SGPN gift cards. Enter for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup. All right. Let's talk about this series, Scott. Oklahoma City Thunder going up against Indiana Pacers. I'm only looking at one book here, so please make sure you shop your lines. Get the best line for you. But the book we're looking at, Thunder are laying $7 here, Scott. $7 to win one on the Oklahoma City Thunder here. 5-1 for the Pacers. $1 wins you 5. Still 5.5 on the series spread as always. I believe that
I saw
is minus 135.
Yeah,
minus 135 on the under, plus 115 on the over here. Series spread, you can find OKC for the look. Here goes series I'm not talking to you, lady. Pacers plus 2.5 games, plus 120. OKC laying 2.5 games, minus 140. Scott. Here's my take. I think that one, Indiana deserves to be here. As much as Everybody says it. Indiana deserves to be here.
I'm just waiting for the but attached to this statement, but yes.
No, they really do. They really do deserve to be there. They took out the number one overall seed. They beat the Knicks after the Knicks did a lot of the heavy lifting, taking Boston out. And so like they really did everything that they're supposed to do. However, you see, hey man, you see how I was able to switch that one up. However, the reason that I think that they were able to beat the Cavs and the Knicks is because at the end of the day, neither one of those two teams can keep up with the Pacers. Like how Rick Carlisle runs that offense, how Rick Carlisle wants that offense to be super duper fast, super duper up pace. The Pacers went on an unreal shooting run. It's not even about what anything that the refs may have gave them in that series. Like the Knicks legitly just could not keep up with them in the track meet. And unfortunately for the Pacers, I think they're going up against the OKC team that is probably the best team when it comes to playing transition defense, being able to move up and down the court, playing with pace, all of that. And they can also play slow. And their half-court sets aren't complete shit. Unlike the Pacers, where as soon as you slow them down, they look like a minuscule version of themselves.
I would say yes and no. We have seen the Thunder's half-court offense look ugly at times, but for the most part, I agree with you. But there have been a couple of alarming halves by OKC in the half-court.
And I think majority of them was against Denver.
Yes, they had one really bad half in Game 3 against Minnesota, but they didn't show up the entire game in Game 3, so I guess it doesn't count. But just throwing it out there, I don't think OKC's half-court offense is that great either. But it might be better than Indiana's.
But even with that, you add that with the fact of you have to get OKC to a close game. You have to get them to a close game, and that's where Indiana feel. If Indiana said that they had 7 close games in this series, they feel really good about their chances. I just don't think it's going to be a close game. I don't, because I don't think that the Pacers are going to be able to get back in transition and have the success that they were able to have, forcing the Knicks and the Cavs to be uncomfortable like OKC. Because OKC's defense is really, 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 really nasty. And that's what this series is about for me. It's less about SGA. It's less about the offense. And it's more about how good OKC's defense is. And I feel way better about OKC guarding all the options that the Pacers have than I ever felt about the Knicks. So with that, Scott, I don't think this is close. I think it's competitive, but I don't think this is close. I think we're getting out of here.
I was going to say, before you give your exact game prediction, do you believe minus 700 is accurate?
No, because that implies that you're guaranteed to win to me. So maybe that's too high of a number, and that's why I don't have a bet on the spread right now.
So would you have it? You'd have it at like 500?
Yeah, like 4.
4?
Yeah, something a little bit more respectable. Like 700 was insane. But it's like they also gave the Knicks, like, what was it? Minus
150?
No, for the Boston series.
Oh, I thought you meant the Pacers series. Sorry.
Nah, the Boston series was like
Knicks were like 10-1.
Yeah, like it was insane. And so that's where I'm like, I don't really like how they played the spread. I think OKC should win, and maybe I should say, hey, 700 is a good number, because I don't see a world where OKC loses. But like, I don't know. I just look at the number. I'm like, wow, that's way more than I thought. I would have thought it was at least like minus 350, minus 400, something like that. But I'll ask you before we officially give out our official picks and just your early takes on the game. I think it's OKC's defense. I think at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, that's what we're talking about here. How much better OKC's defense is than the Pacers.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page here, where the Thunder were a team that I picked pre-playoffs to win the title, and it looked dicey against Denver. Then Game 7 happened. They showed up, and they won by what felt like 50 points. And at that point, I was wondering if that was going to be a coming-of-age game, where this team finally had the test they needed. They got to the other side, and at that point, they were just going to showcase a sense of growth and a sense of maturity moving forward, where we knew that the talent was there, the depth was there. We just need to see them be a bit more battle-tested, and that was what they got. And then after that, I thought they would kill Minnesota. I mean, I had it in about 6, but I thought OKC was going to be winning the series throughout, and they did. And I thought it was pretty easy for them, and they ended up winning in 5. I think OKC is the better team. I think Indiana, as you said before, the pace, they can really take other teams out of rhythm and out of their, I'd say, usual comfort by ramping up the pace, the full court pressing, the intensity, just to take other teams out of their comfort zone and to force them to do things they're not accustomed to doing. The thing about the Thunder is that they have a ton of youth, a ton of athleticism, and they also have an elite scorer on the team who can carry an offense if he struggles. The problem I have with the Pacers offensively in the series, you mentioned the half court. The problem that I have is more based on Halliburton himself, because I do think as an elite passer and as an elite point guard, he is still a pass first point guard. And my concern is if Halliburton is not aggressively looking for his shot as often as he should. We saw in the Knicks series. He had himself a phenomenal game, an all-time great game in game 4. Then he did nothing for about the entire game in game 5. He did nothing for about 2.5 quarters in the game 6 matchup. And then he had a flurry in the fourth quarter, where he had a bunch of floaters, and he ended up having like 20 points. But for 3 quarters, you still didn't really notice him looking for his own shot. And I feel like if your star player is not going to be continuously dropping 20 plus points a game against the best defense in the league by a mile, in my opinion, an all-time great defense, I just question if your offense will be good enough to actually score enough points to beat this team. And Halliburton, I think, is going to need a monster series. Now he has the Dort matchup, the Caruso matchup. You can throw in Cason Wallace for a bit. Shea can also get some run against him. They can switch so many guys onto Halliburton that I think his life will be a little bit difficult, or a lot of it difficult, over the course of these matchups. Now, Siakam is kind of a weird tweener, who I think size-wise can maybe have some moments, but Jalen Williams can also play great defense. You have Chet and Harden on the interior. I have a lot of questions on how Indiana is going to constantly hunt mismatches, which they did against the Knicks, because Cat's not a good defensive player, Brunson's not a good defensive player, and they found ways to exploit that. Against the Thunder, you really can't do that, because the Thunder rotate 8 guys, and they're all really good at defense. And my concern is if Halliburton only averages, let's say, 16 points a game in this series, is that good enough? The answer is probably not. He's probably going to have to average 20 plus points per game with the assists attached to it, and I just don't see that happening. So I have the Thunder winning as well. I think 700 sounds steep for a team with no title experience at all, but I understand where they're coming from, because the Thunder, yes, Indiana's home court is very impressive. They have dropped 2 home games. OKC dropped 1, which was the choke job in game 1 against Denver. But right now, they have the largest point differential at home by any team in the history of the NBA playoffs. They have one of the best home court advantages of all time, based on stats. I don't know if Indiana can go in there and steal 2, let alone 1. And you're going to have to win at least 1 if you want to have a chance to win the series. So based on that, I'm going with the Thunder to win the series as well. If you want to go into actual games and spread stuff, we can now. But I agree with you. I think the Thunder win the series.
I don't think it's close. I think Indiana has their moments. But ultimately, I just think that OKC does what they do better, and that's going to show. And so I do agree with you. OKC does piss me off at times. On the road, Scott, still, wait.
They are not a great road team.
0-6, 0-7?
I want to say they covered one of the road spreads at some point, but that might not even be,
did
that
they?
might not even
Yeah,
be
I was
true,
about,
to be
did
honest.
they?
I was gonna say, they might have. I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think they're still 0 on the road in the playoffs here. Hold on. Let me go back and double check that. Oh wait, no, I
It
got
comes
something.
down to one Nuggets game. There was one Nuggets game in there where they did end up winning, where they might have gotten hooked, but I don't know if they actually covered or not.
Because I know they didn't cover that one. What was it? The Minnesota game where Minnesota got the 3.5 but still lost.
I think you're right though, because I'm pretty sure Gordon hit a 3-pointer at the end of the game to cover the spread for Denver.
All right, ATS on. Wait, no, this is regular. Why are you still showing me regular season? I'm clicked playoffs. All right, update playoffs. take regular season off.
Selective recall tells me that I think you're right. I'm pretty sure they've not covered a road spread the entire postseason.
Yeah, no, they haven't.
They've been winning road games, but the point is they've been they've been elite at home, an all-time great home team in the postseason.
Yep.
They're really not that great on the road, which is something that I've noticed too. I know that they ended up winning Game 4 because they scored 130-something points, and Shea was almost in a 40-point triple-double range. That's not really the point. The point is there's a massive drop-off between home quality and road quality with this Thunder team.
Mm-hmm.
So your argument is if Indiana can keep pace, and if they can win their home games, they won't win the series, but you'll get yourself a longer series than people expect.
I think they get one of those home games. I think they go 1-1 in Indiana. I think it's probably Game 3 where OKC just completely like, oh, all right, as they always do, especially if they're up 2-0. Like it's kind of a let off the gas in Game 3 for OKC, and then Game 4 comes in and they make it hard, but they end up getting the win, and they didn't get the cover as they did against Minnesota. Yeah.
And what about the other way around? Are you picking Indiana to have any chance of winning an OKC game, or you're just picking the Thunder to win every home game and we'll just move on?
Yeah, I don't think they're winning in OKC. You know, OKC is actually what's the number of the stat that I had? The opponent's team total is 1-8 at home for OKC in the playoffs.
You took
1-8
last game. The Timberwolves had 9 points in the first quarter.
Yes. I took it again for Game 1. Just go ahead and let's just go ahead and give that to the people. I already took it again for Game 1, under 110.5 for the Pacers. They've been really, really good defensively at home. I don't know if they're going to be able to get one. I really don't, because I don't think the Pacers win a low-scoring game against OKC at all. Any chance they have to win a game, it has to be a high-scoring affair. So I do think the spread is right, but I just won't lay -140 on 2.5 games. That just sounds yucky to me. Honestly, it really does, especially in the finals.
Yeah,
but I'll take my shot, and I guess it's kind of like the same thing, but it feels better to me. Under 5.5 games, -135.
Yeah, that's what I like in the series too. I'm not going to get too creative with it. I feel like you said we can give our predictions basically. You have Thunder in 5, correct?
Yeah. Worst case scenario 5, but it really could be 4.
I have Thunder in 5. So we're on the same page here. I feel like, once again, it's not about disrespecting Indiana, because earlier in the postseason, I was kind of lower on this team. They won me over. I picked them against the Knicks at plus money. They got it done. And now we're going up against the juggernaut. I've been pro Thunder for the entire season. There were a couple of, I'd say, hiccups along the way, mostly involving their offense with Jalen Williams being their second guy. He stepped up in a couple of big games. I still wonder if the future of this team involves getting another bona fide superstar or not, but that's down the road. Yeah, potentially, or one of those guys who could be a more consistent
said they want picks.
Shot getter. That's what I'm saying. I do think, though, for now, with this matchup, I think J-Dub is good enough as a second option to win this title matchup. I do think that the Thunder are a team that just have too much defensive intensity, too much defensive talent. Indiana has none of that. They are a pretty good defensive team, Indiana, at least compared to what people think. But they're not close to this OKC team. Mm-hmm. And it goes back to what I said about Halliburton. Yes, you have Siakam, who won Conference Finals MVP, deserved or not. He's had a very good run so far this postseason. But if you take him or Halliburton out of the equation, do you like their other options? And I feel like you're going to be a pretty, I'd say, meh on the other options, because Nesmith is playing through a foot injury. You saw, I know Walker didn't play much. He ended up playing a bit more. He got injured. He's out for the first couple games. That's a potential bench guy they're talking about.
Any foul trouble, you're sick.
Nembhard forgot how to shoot. He had a decent closing to that game in Game 6, but he was a mess offensively for most of that series. Miles Turner's a head case. I think we'd agree on that. There are a lot of guys in Indiana who can have solid games offensively, but if they struggle, you would not be surprised. And I feel like that's the issue that I have. The issue that I have is OKC has a third guy in Chet who can give you 20 in a given game. For Indiana, they don't really have that, because I don't trust Miles Turner at all. I don't trust Nembhard at all. And if you can limit Halliburton, who's also not guaranteed to give you 20 in any given game, they're going to run out of offense against this defense. That's the problem that I have. I think the Thunder have a bit more, I'd say, high-end scoring depth compared to Indiana, and that's where I think the Thunder win the series in 5. I think Halliburton will not average 20 points per game in the series. I think he'll average closer to 17, and that's not good enough when you're the second best player against an all-time great defense. You need 2 guys averaging 20-plus points. I don't see Halliburton getting there. Agree or disagree?
Agreed.
So I got Thunder in 5.
Yep, as well. Thunder in 5. Lowest odds on the board for the series, Scott, plus 250. Thunder 4-1. Thunder 4-0 is plus 260. Thunder in 6 plus 450. Thunder in 7 5-1, and then you can get to all the Pacers number there. All right, we'll keep on going with the preview. But first, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. And if you sign up this week, you'll get a free Reps Are Terrorists t-shirt right out of our merch store. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/reps to claim your free shirt. We're also brought to you by Underdog of Fantasy. They are still keeping the extender going for the NBA Finals. 40% off game 1. Make sure you use it. They also have a bunch of other bonuses. I just used the 40% bonus that they just gave me the other day. So they'll give you a lot of bonuses. Tap in there with Underdog Fantasy. Promo code NBASGPN. Claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code NBASGPN. Then we're also brought to you by NYRA Bets. You can bet the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. Scott, why they moved to Saratoga?
They've been renovating the Belmont.
They've been doing that for like 2 years, haven't they?
You don't know how long construction projects take in New York.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, they take a while.
It sounds like down here too.
It's a very expensive renovation too. They spent like hundreds of millions of dollars on it, but
what?
New York construction is, I'd say,
hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, I'd say that New York construction is notoriously known for taking longer than expected.
Oh, dear Lord. Dear Lord. All right. Hey, I got to go when they finish in 5 years.
Yeah, I'll be going.
All right.
You get in the Uber, you pregame a little bit in the Uber, and then you get to the place.
All right. Well, not Saratoga, but Belmont. Going to the Belmont in what's 5 years from now? 2030?
Yes.
Sign up today using promo code SGPN25 and you can get a free $25 bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus when you're trying to go over there and belt the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or you're just getting started, NYRA Bets makes it easy to jump into the action. This exclusive offer for the Belmont. So don't wait. Join now. Claim your free $25 Belmont bet today at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. All right. What other nice little fun props are there? OKC. So our script or my script, I don't want to enforce my script on you, Scott, but if you agree with the script, then it can be our script. But OKC to win game 1 and 2, Indiana to win game 3, and then OKC to sweep the last 2 games is 6-1.
Yeah, we are completely in lockstep on the show because that's the exact script that I have too for the series. So we are definitely on the same page here. I feel like Indiana, you could argue, maybe wins 2 home games, and you could argue maybe this ends up going 6, but I think OKC wins both home games. They're favored by 9.5 in game 1, so you're expecting a pretty good performance from the Thunder with that crowd in the first game minimum, and then you can go from there. We're on the same page. I think that Indiana will lose a home game. We've seen them, unlike the Thunder, lose in pretty convincing fashion. The Thunder won home loss was pretty fluky. They were up 9 with 3 minutes to go, and they fell apart. The Pacers got blown out by the Cavs in game 3. They did blow a 20-point lead to the Knicks.
Yep.
But the game was close the entire fourth quarter, and the Knicks were able to hold them off at the end because Cat went God mode for about 6 minutes. But I do think the Thunder have a much better chance at winning a road game than the Pacers have at winning a road game in OKC. Not saying it's impossible. If Indiana uses the pace early in game 1, maybe they can find ways to make game 1 more interesting than people think. But we're on the same page. I think the Thunder win every home game in the series. I do think Indiana loses a road game. And unfortunately, if you lose one road game, we don't do the 2-3-2 anymore. So that's going to cause Game 5 back in OKC, and at that point, it's probably curtains. So that's where I'm at.
How many years were they doing that? I really only remember one series where I vividly remember it, and that was, I feel like it was a Heat Spurs series. But what was it? It was one series where I'm like, wait, what?
That was around a lot longer than you think, because that
Yeah,
was
no, it was. That's why I'm like, wait.
no, like that was Bad Boy Pistons era. Like that went back to like early 90s.
When did they start? When did they stop doing that?
I remember the Pistons did that because they ended up splitting against Portland, and then they said we're not coming back here, and they won the next 3 games at home and they won the series. So I know that it's been around for, or it was around for like 20 years, give or take, and then they finally got rid of it. But
yeah, that lasted until 2014.
That was around for like 20 something years because that started in the
90s. That is crazy for that format to have been around that long.
I don't know when that started though, but I remember the
1985.
I was going to say the Bad Boy Pistons had that against the Trailblazers, but you said 85. So that was around for about 30 years.
So 1985, to ease the amount of cross-country travel, it was changed to a 2-3-2 format, and then it was restored in 2014. Wow, I didn't realize that it was 2-3-2 for that long.
Yeah, Philly, you also had some best of fives in the first round of the 2000s, because I remember the Nets beat the Pacers coincidentally.
Yeah, the best of fives definitely was in.
Reggie Miller banked in that 3-pointer at the buzzer in Game 5 to force overtime, and the Nets won anyway, so they got by. But I remember Reggie Miller in Game 5 banked in that like 35-foot 3 in Game 5. So yeah, they used to do best of 5 in the first round, but that ended up getting switched out in the, I want to say, mid-2000s as well, because the NBA wanted the extra revenue for Game 6 and 7. But yeah, early 2000s they had that too, and then they got rid of it. I'd say 2006 maybe they got rid of that.
I'm trying. 2003.
Okay, 2003.
Wow, what?
The Reggie Miller one had to have been either.
Are we old?
That had to have been 01 or 02 because the Nets made the finals that year, so it had to have been around there. But yeah,
wow,
I still remember
I feel
that.
like this was gone like yo.
I'd say way longer. I was like 7 years old.
I feel like it was like that was wow. Yeah, no, that's really funny.
I mean, I like best of 7 in the first round. The counter argument would be that, well, you don't have to see the Grizzlies play 7 games potentially if the Thunder are going to kill them anyway, but they won in 4. So you just save a Grizzlies game, basically. You only have to see them 3 times out of 4 times. That's basically the whole purpose, but they decided we'll just make more money. Plus, you had more upset potential for best of 5 than a best of 7.
Scott, the 20-point deficit, team to come back from a 20-point deficit, set plus 425.
I'm not going to take it this time around. Because if we're picking the Thunder to win every home game, that implies
I think it's gonna happen.
I don't think it's going to, because I'm trying to think of, first of all, how many games we have. We're picking 5. That's not many.
You know, I mean, I'll tell you when it happens.
I picked it in the Pacers and Knicks series because I thought we were going to get at least 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out because the Knicks came back in Game 3. But the point is, I do think for this series, the Thunder were picking to win every home game. I'm not picking the Thunder to fall behind 20 at home. So how many games are you working with? You're working with 2 games. You need one team to fall behind 20 in Indiana and come back and win because we're picking the Thunder to win every home game. So I just don't see a script where that actually happens.
So for me, it's more about the pace of the game. And the pace of the game can make the runs feel a lot larger than what they are. And so if you tell me that Indiana gets out one of these games and the pace is crazy and OKC is kind of sleepwalking early, as they've done multiple times, yeah, Indiana gets themselves up to a 20-point lead, but OKC's not afraid because it's like, what's the 20-point lead nowadays? Like, we can cut into that. And then, it feels great for Game 4. Game 4 feels like that's when Indiana goes up 20 and then OKC comes back and steals the win. And now it looks really, really ugly.
I see.
I would wait. I'm just going to wait till it happens live. But I will admit, if you want to just bet it now, I think it's a good prop.
It's on DraftKings, by the way, Andre.
Yes, I do see it on DraftKings. They have 20, 25, and 30. But 25 and 30 just, come on, it feels like a lot. All right. OKC after game 3 is OKC 2-1 after game 3 is plus 120. Wow, they have a correct score after game 4.
I'm assuming 3-1's the favorite there for
Yep.
OKC.
Plus
Okay.
155.
That is not worth it at all, by the way. I would just take the 2-1 profits and just roll it over for game. I bet that individually.
Yeah. It feels short.
You're only getting like 30 extra cents. It's just not a good deal.
You're also getting. I also feel like undefeated at home. OKC is minus 120.
Yeah.
Undefeated on the road? No way.
No.
No way. OKC would not. That's plus 155. That is not a good bet.
I mean, I think if the Thunder go undefeated on the road, they sweep the series. So
Yeah.
that's kind of just how I look at it. But
yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's talk about player props. All right. Let's skip the points prop.
Do you want to do a read first? Or do you want to do that after?
No, let's do it first. That's fine. We've got the ultimate fantasy football giveaway by Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, where you will have a chance to take you and your 12-team league over there to Vegas and be treated like VIPs. You'll get a limo ride from the airport, a $5,000 tab at Stadium Swim for your draft, and a hotel stay for you and your league mates. So head over there, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa to get into that contest for free. You can also get 15% off all the Circa properties with promo code SGPN15, even if you don't win the contest. So sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA to get into that contest. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. They just dropped their Power Trends AI detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won and has a high ROI. Power Trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. So no touts, no noise, just clean data-backed bets. Download the Rhythm app and check out Power Trends. Get a 7-day free trial at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag, your place to bet every single sport, including the NBA Finals. MyBookie money bag for the true degens, and MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations, so you can easily deposit, get lightning fast payouts using cryptocurrency. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for your 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. All right. Like I said, series leader in points, Skip.
What is Shea again? He's like minus. What is he like?
Take a guess. Take a guess.
Minus 1,000.
Oh, you're so. I mean, yeah, you're short. You're short.
I'm short. Okay.
It's way. I mean, well, I guess it's way less technically, because minus is less. Yeah, so it's way less than that.
Was he like 2,000?
You're still short.
Really? That sucks.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
You're still really short.
All right, you want to just tell me? There's no way it's 5,000, is it?
Nah, it's not that far.
Okay.
$3,500. You gotta lay $3,500 to win $100 on SGA to be the total points leader.
I understand it, but I hate it.
J-Dub is 25-1. Pascal's 28-1. Halliburton is 60-1.
But we can skip it. The point is 3,500 is just an insane number.
Jesus Christ. Total threes leader. Halliburton's minus 125. Neesmith's plus 425. Dort is 6-1. SGA is 11-1. Miles Turner's 11-1. J-Dub is 11-1. And then you start working yourself to Nembhard, who's 20-1. Chet and Caruso are 30-1, and Pascal's 40-1.
I feel like Halliburton makes sense, but I don't think he's going to have a good series. So I'm kind of out on it. But I'll ask you about volume, because I wonder on the Thunder, Dort makes sense, but he might get benched at some point. We know that they've been willing to go away from him if needed. We know he's also not exactly the best shooter, even though he is left wide open intentionally half the time.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make an argument? Because Halliburton, I understand why he's favored, but I don't want to take him at plus 125.
Yeah, I get why he's favored. I wouldn't want to take him either, just because I don't think he'd have as a good series. This is probably the one that I would love to target, because I just feel like it's a wide range of outcomes. Like I feel like it can be anybody.
Yeah.
All right. So you look at the regular season. Who was you had the Halliburton 4 threes. You had a couple sprinkled around there for a few different people. Obi Toppin at a couple, Walker at a couple, Shepherd at a couple. Siakam took 5 attempts. He only hit 1 though. Dort had 6 threes in one matchup. Isaiah Joe had 5 threes in another matchup. SGA had 3 threes in another matchup. Cason Wallace has had 2 threes in another matchup. Dort has had 3 again. SGA has had 4. Halliburton has had 0 in a game earlier this season where he played 35 minutes. Pascal has had 5 in a game. Oh, there's so much variance here, Scott. This is where you make money.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is
where you make money.
This is the market to try to find somebody that's not Halliburton, but you got to pick the right one. And there's a lot of inconsistency involved, but this is definitely a prop market where you should consider. I know last round, for example, we took Anthony Edwards, leading rebounder, of 40-1. I'm not saying that it's going to be that big of a payout once again on this one, but I think this is definitely a market you want to go for if you want to try to throw some flyers and hopefully something sticks. That's how I look at it.
I mean, Pascal spreads the floor. Pascal and Miles both spread the floor. They're probably going to have them shoot a bunch of attempts. It's just, are they going to make them?
Yeah. I was tempted by Siakam a bit, who I thought shot the ball pretty well against the Knicks from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I still question about the volume, though, because once again, the guy who wins this prop could, in theory, average only like 5 attempts per game, and he hits 3 of them, and the guy just has a monster percentage. There's not many guys on the court that you're expecting to take 10-plus three-pointers in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Halliburton might do that in like 1 or 2 games, probably not, but there is a chance that he will lead multiple games in volume, which is why he's favored. Dort will be chucking them if he's left wide open, but we know that Dort, if he misses, will get benched for it. So I'll ask you, because I think Siakam makes some sense.
Yeah.
Is there a path, maybe? It's going to sound extremely degen, but I have to ask. You mentioned that he had 5 3-pointers in one game against the Pacers earlier this season.
Yep.
If the Thunder blow the Pacers out in multiple games of this series, is there a chance Isaiah Joe hits like 5 3-pointers in a game by playing 20 minutes of garbage time?
Yep. And he hasn't done anything all playoffs.
I don't know if he's going to play that much, but I think his price will probably be pretty good if you're picking a guy to, once again, have a decent amount of volume and maybe more playing time than expected. I can see him being the random, I don't want to say like Danny Green, Gary Neal type guy, but Gary Neal, when he was on the Spurs, had like one game with the Spurs against the Heat where he had like 7 threes, and you're like, why does he have 7 threes? I can see Joe having a game like that.
Yeah.
Does J-Dub have value, potentially?
I feel like that's potentially, but that's not where I was looking at it.
Yeah, I see. By the way, I see somebody asking about the Ant rebounding leader. Yes, we did cash that. That was plus 5,000 actually. So
I think Pascal Siakam at 40-1 is mispriced, and I will bet it just because of that. Because he, like, Caruso comes off the bench and he's 30-1. Is that how far? Like, I understand I have OKC light years above this team too, but is that really, like, Pascal starts?
Yeah.
He plays 35 minutes a game. So Pascal, there's a bet going on Pascal out of principle.
I agree with you at 40-1. The question I want to ask you though is, do you want to consider a center or like an actual forward, like a Miles Turner? Because I don't.
I really want to take Miles Turner, but I know Miles.
I have no faith in Miles Turner at all.
I'm not gonna lie. Miles Turner's probably gonna piss me off by winning this because I'm not gonna bet him.
I think he might end up in foul trouble in 3 of these games.
It makes sense that he would win. But also, I will add, he's not going to be getting wide open looks like he did in the Knicks series.
I think foul trouble will be a concern too.
So I do want to bet an OKC person in this. I just don't know who.
I mentioned J-Dub, trying to think of options.
I don't really trust Dort enough. Chet would be,
Chet attempts enough.
Possibly. Maybe he just goes unconscious and takes over, and it's like 4, 2, 3, 4.
For the record, I don't think Shea's that great of a three-point shooter, but he has been attempting a decent amount of them in the postseason. For the actual attempts, Dort's leading the team with 6.4. J-Dub is second at 5.3.
Okay.
And Shea's third, averaging 5. For the record, the top 4 attempt guys for the Thunder are all shooting below 34% from 3. For the record.
This is so good for an Indiana prop. I'm sorry.
I don't even think I want. You get one guy who gets hot, you have a shot at it.
Yeah.
And you can argue maybe Nesmith if he has one of those games where he has like 5. He's also a bit banged up, so you got to factor that in too. But the Thunder attempt a decent amount of threes. They're actually not that good at it. So one guy maybe gets hot, or maybe it's an Indiana prop.
And honestly, like, I really do think Halliburton, I don't think he's going to suck, but he's not going to be good. He's not going to be the top 10 player that everybody wants him to be in these finals. And Pascal's been there, done that, won a championship. Give him Pascal 40-1, 3's leader. I'm not placing another bet. I'm sold on Pascal getting this done for us.
I agree with Siakam. I think I would throw out a J-Dub at 11-1. Honestly, I might throw out a couple of guys. I'll take Shea at 11-1, J-Dub at 11-1, and I'll also take Siakam at 40.
All right.
I see Joe's not even listed, by the way. So if Joe wins, I'm assuming he just gets voided. But
yeah,
I'll take those 3 guys. They're all 11-1 or higher. I think that based on volume, J-Dub and Shea at least are attempting 5+ per game. So there is a pathway where they can average maybe 3 per game if they get hot. And I like the odds there. I think those are the 3 I'll go with. Siakam, I have to bet 4-1. But I'll take J-Dub and I'll take Shea in this one as well.
Halliburton, a huge leader for total assists.
I'm not going to argue that. He looks to pass most of the time. It's why I think he's going to have
It's not as big as SGA is for total points, but it's a pretty big number here. Laying 900. Not really interested in anything else. Let's see. Player to have single.
Do you think rebounds gets fascinating?
Oh, wait, did I skip rebounds? I did skip rebounds. Oh, crap. All right. Chet is minus 185. Isaiah Hartenstein plus 195. Pascal's plus 550. J-Dub 13-1. SGA 15-1. Tyrese Halliburton 40-1. Miles Turner 50-1. Miles Turner, you fucking suck, man.
Miles Turner having higher odds than Halliburton is so funny.
You fucking suck, bro. Why are you 50-1? And I understand why you're 51, but I'm saying that's why you fucking suck, that you're a center and you're 50-1 to be the total rebounds leader.
Yeah, he has Jaren Jackson syndrome. He just refuses to rebound.
Aaron Nesmith, the 80-1. Dort is 250-1 along with Nembhard and Caruso. Huh.
Am I wrong for thinking Shea is actually a sleeper in this market? He might have a couple of bad games in there, like, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. Maybe I'm also just picking Shea, the MVP, to show up in the series. I think that he's a better rebounder than people think. I think he has a triple-double at some point in the series. I'll mention that as a potential long shot prop I'll get to in a second. But I think there's some value there. I mean, the point is the centers in the series. I know Chet does rebound relatively well. Hartenstein's a good rebounder, but the question is, will they bench him for Caruso and do that lineup for a decent amount of minutes? They might. So Hartenstein might be the odd man out for that one. Chet being favored makes sense. Miles Turner does not rebound. Siakam didn't really no rebound against the Knicks at all. And I do think that opens up a pathway for a guard to actually lead the series in rebounding. We saw with Ant, for example. We did see a guard lead the series in rebounding against the Thunder last round. I think there might be some value on Shea. I can see Shea having a couple of solid rebounding games, which might be enough.
If I just fade the favorite in Shea at minus 185, and Isaiah Hartenstein has gotten to the point where they've kind of pushed him off the floor.
And they've been so much better with Caruso there instead.
Yeah, so I think he's screwed. Pascal's very interesting at plus 550.
He didn't try to rebound against the Knicks either, though. Maybe it's a matchup thing and he'll rebound better in this series.
And that's what I think it is. I think he'll rebound better here. Not gonna lie to you. I think you got a point here for SGA.
I'm just throwing it out there. We know he's going to play at least like 37 minutes a game. There might be some garbage time involved, but I can see him. I don't want to use the term stat padding, but I can see the Thunder keeping him in just to ensure that you have some wins in your back pocket.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if both of the guards, just him and Halliburton,
Yeah.
If you average 7, you're in the conversation.
I think he can average 7.
If you average 7 every single game, because I think that the bigs will have maybe a game where they have a lot, but then they get phased off the floor in another game where the game is way too fast and they can't keep up. Yeah, guard to win it again is actually really interesting
We
here,
have to
Scott.
take a heat check, right? We had a 50-1 last series. We kind of have to go for it. But
Yeah.
19-1, I can probably shop around and see if there's a better price available. But at first glance, I think Shea plays enough. I mean, I want to look at his postseason numbers so far. So the rebounds leader for the Thunder, you have Chet and Hartenstein. Third is J-Dub, but J-Dub's only 0.1 ahead of Shea. I'm not saying, once again, Shea's going to win it, but I do think you can argue that there is a path for him to win it, and that's enough for me. But you can find his rebounding available. By the way, I'm quickly just shopping around to see if there's anything else. Okay, so I see 10-1 on FanDuel, and you're getting 19 on DraftKings, so I do like the fact that there's a massive price differential there. Let me see what BetMGM has for this one. Sorry, trying to see if I could find these
No, you're
series.
good. Let's see. Yeah, J-Dub. I mean, could it be J-Dub? Yeah, but like
they're both 10-1, except on DraftKings. So DraftKings give you 2 times the odds on Shea, which I think I have to consider. So.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I like those plays.
We're gonna swing for it.
I'll randomly throw Howley in there too, in case he's like, oh, I can't affect the game scoring. I'll do everything else.
See, Lane, I get what you're saying though. Conceptually, Miles Turner, rebounding leader, will call to you because he's 7 feet tall. The problem is he thinks he's
I'm
6'2".
Like, that's really like me betting Jaren Jackson Jr. to be the rebounds leader in any series, and it's just like when you are such. And I don't even like saying Miles Turner is committed on the defensive end because I really don't think he is. I
No, he's
really
committed to
actually
shot blocking. That's basically it.
and that's what it is. He's committed to shot blocking, and so he's never in position for the rebound ever, and he doesn't look for it. He's more looking at the ball going in the person's hands, and then somebody else flies in for the rebound. And plus, here I just think with the pace of the game, it's going to be a lot of longer rebounds, so they're going to fall to the guards. Like I actually do like Scott's thought of a guard winning this. That makes sense to me.
I think Siakam has a chance too if you want to go by the matchup, so I don't mind that too. But
yeah,
look, it probably goes to Chet or Hartenstein, if we're being honest here, but I don't see that being a foregone conclusion. I think there is a
that was
path for
just
one of
like
them
the
to win it.
Rudy, like with Rudy, it's not foregone. Like
Yeah,
we're
and
not
Rudy was a
saying that this
massive
is
favorite in that series.
we're not saying this is a given, but like you want to take a stab on somebody, take a stab on
19-1. You give me 10-1 in every other book. I found one rogue 19-1. Sure, I'll take that. Why not?
All right. Anything else here, Scott?
Yes, I did mention one long shot prop that I was tempted by. It's in the final specials in the series market section on DraftKings. I like Shea to record a triple double at some point in the series. I think that he was very close against the Timberwolves. He had a 40-plus point almost triple double with, I think it was 9 rebounds at the time. But you can find Shea triple double available at. Sorry, trying to find it. It's at 550. Shea's odds for a triple double are higher than his odds to score 50 plus points in a game. We got to pump the brakes a little bit. I think Shea has a path for one game to get the assists. The pace will be there because Indiana wants to run. One game, Indiana might send extra bodies at Shea, trying to force the ball out of his hands, and that can result in assists. I'll take a swing on it. I think Shea can have himself a nice triple double.
Right.
I know we already stamped the MVP stuff in the last series, but I can see him having a moment there.
Yeah.
I think 550 is a good price.
I like it. Nice stuff here, Scott. All right. Let's close things out here. Series best bets.
What do you want? The
under 5.5.
5.5?
Yeah, under 5.5 is in there for sure. Best bets. Okay. I understand I'm throwing it in best bets, but I'm not throwing a lot on it.
Okay.
But the Pascal Siakam threes conversation really is sticking with me ever since we had it. So let's throw that into the best bets. just so I could get a prop in there. And something that feels really good sweating and being able to say it was the best bet if it is. I have to play the 6-1 exact outcome in case I'm exactly right about this. OKC, OKC, Indiana, OKC, OKC.
By the way, there is a prop available for Siakam, which is, I'd say, worse odds, obviously, than the 3-point leader. You can get him to record a 3-pointer in every game at 3-1.
Okay.
Which I'd rather take the 3's a leader, but if you wanted to go
maybe
for
that's
the
like
safe option.
If you want like a ladder, that's like a ladder, kind of.
Yeah, kind of. 3-1, though. I don't mind.
Yeah. What else? What you got, Scott?
Well, FanDuel has a bunch of stuff. So I have to actually, like, dive into this. Thunder to score 110 in every game's plus 110. I can't do that. Let me just see what I can get. I don't think any of these games go to overtime, by the way. I know I gave out that prop in that Pacers-Knicks series that cashed in game 1. I'm just not going to make that argument for this one. Sorry, just trying to see if there's anything that I'm really tempted by. Shea's over-under for points per game is at 33.5, by the way. Halliburton's at exactly 17.5. I called that one to a T. Siakam's at 19.5. I don't mind the over, actually, on Siakam there. Okay, so SGA rebounds per game's at 5.5.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Scott.
Siakam's also at 5.5.
Yeah.
So you can make an argument for that. I don't mind going for a bit of a longer shot prop here. It's a safer option on the Shea rebound leader. But Shea to record 5 rebounds in every game is plus 650. I'm intrigued.
I see the concern that you could have,
One
but
game.
It could be very, very, because didn't Ant have one game where he had 1?
I think he had one game where he had like 4, I think. But 650 though? I think it's okay.
I see it. I see the vision. What else? That's it?
Well, I was trying to think if there's anything else I really want to take, but Halliburton assists are at 9.5, but the under's at minus 156. Do we think that Shea does average over 33 a game?
I mean, no.
Okay.
He's not gonna have enough games because he's gonna go off in the home games and then he's gonna go on the road and not be as good. He doesn't have enough games.
I think one prop I will actually consider taking as well. J-Dub to average under 22.5 points per game is minus 128. He had a pretty good series against Minnesota. He only averaged 22.2. In fact, he averaged 23.3 in the first series against Memphis. So he did go over in that one. He averaged 17 and change against Denver, 22.2 against the Timberwolves. I don't mind a J-Dub under. He could still have a solid series while averaging less than 22 a game.
It's the road games. Everybody's numbers go down so much in the road games, it's going to pull your average down. I mean, think about it. SGA is averaging 29.8 for the playoffs. It feels like he's been doing way worse than that. I mean, way better than that. But, I mean, if you're not going off in the road games, it's going to pull your average down.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask, though, do you want to consider a Shea under 33.5 points or a J-Dub under 22.5 points?
I would rather play J-Dub at 22.
I think he can average 22 on the dot. But even 22.2, there are decimals involved.
Yeah.
So he needs to average 22.5. I think that's a little bit high. He only averaged 19 in the 2 games against the Pacers this season. Regular season, I get it. He only played 32.5 minutes per game there. But I don't mind J-Dub under. The number feels a little bit high.
It's because the reason I take J-Dub is because when he bottoms out, it's going to pull that average off. Like when he bottoms out, he has like 6 points, 7 points.
Yeah.
You do that on the road in this series, 7 and a 13-point game.
Yeah, I was going to say like a 13 or so. That's going to skew your numbers.
That's going to skew you all the way down. So, yeah.
And if the Thunder end up routing them in a game or two, there is a chance that he sits for a decent amount of time in the fourth quarter.
I'll play the J-Dub number. Add that to my best bet.
Okay.
The team is too good. Everybody else is going to be playing really well.
Yeah.
It's less about him not being. It's not about him not being good. It's more about everybody else being good. And then, so if he just has a bad game, it's going to automatically pull him down. Mm-hmm. All right. That's it.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay.
Unless you wanted to throw in the Thunder potential spread.
No.
Because that way they can sweep and you have a path for a sweep instead of going for I mean, that also applies the under at 5.5 though. So
yeah,
our best bet's the under 5.5.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the under 5.5.
Out of all that we have, the best bet's the under 5.5.
Very much so. All right. Anything else for people before we get up out of here?
Not really. Just watching some French Open tennis. I got a couple tennis episodes coming up later on this week.
Oh, is there anything still? Wait, what time are all the matches over?
No. In fact, you're in the middle of the first men's match of the day.
Oh.
So far, knock on wood, it's going well for me. I need Musetti to close this out. Okay. No offense to Tiafo, but we'll see if Musetti gets it done.
I got to go back to the Tennis Gambling Podcast and figure out what the other play is. Get down on it. Wait, did both your plays go off already?
No, the first one did.
Okay.
But the second one is actually a parlay that happens later. But the odds move pretty heavily on it, so we'll see. But nice. Point is, I'll have more episodes coming out there. Of course, we still have the NBA show. We're back again tomorrow to break down the game 1. I think it makes sense for the sake of the time off that we have for the series. We will preview the games the day before instead of the day of.
Yeah.
I think that makes the most sense, to keep that in mind. We, of course,
have the early line movement, all of that. Yeah.
We have the W as well. So check that out as well. So keep that in mind. But besides that, once again, just lock in with SGPN. We have the app. So check out the app too.
All right. He's at Red Show Radio. I'm at really raw __. Make sure you give us a follow at SGPN NBA. 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcast. Drop a like on YouTube before you get up out of here. If you're on X, head over to YouTube and drop a like real quick for me. Appreciate it. With that, that is it. Nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just gonna do like this. We are